Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. I remember saying in a live stream I wasn't going to do the unboxing, and truthfully I've already been in here, but a while back on DLT, actually fairly recently, they dropped this knife, and I said during a DLT walkthrough video, I am going to buy one. This is the one I'm going to buy, and I did that. This is here. The reason I bought this is because I gave away my user Hinderer. A lot of you know that I own many Hinderer knives. The one that I used, I actually gave away during my 500,000 subscriber giveaway. So it was time to build a new user, and I was just waiting for the right version. This is definitely the right version. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram, etc. TikTok too, if you didn't know, I'm on TikTok. Hinderer knives are available. They're definitely much more available now, and I'll link them down in the description so that you guys can check them out. But certain variations of Hinderer knives sell way faster. And this is one of those. It did sell very fast. Congrats to the other folks who picked one of these up. I've already switched the pocket clip. These do come standard, tip down. I don't know why. This is the DLT Trading exclusive Non Flipper Spanto. I've said many times that the XM18 in both the 3 and 3.5 inch forms, I think they are the best when they do not have flippers. A lot of people who have not experienced Hinderer knives since, I don't know, a long time ago, will probably tell you or probably assume, you know, good luck actually deploying that with the thumb stud. These are tuned differently than the flippers. They're actually much easier to deploy. This one here, this is my favorite XM18 of all time. The DLT Trading exclusive non-flipper Fullard Spear. And I've added a titanium scale to this one. This has already been carried and used. It's going to continue to be carried and used. I just love the profile of these non-flippers. I think better knives exist now. You know, ask me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would say this is the absolute best that you can get for the money, and I still love my Hinderer knives, but admittedly, after having experienced literally thousands of knives over the years, I don't think Hinderer is on top at the $400 price point. Even when we're like exclusively talking about USA-made knives, but that's a topic for another video. I just really love Hinderer knives, and I love carrying them, and I don't necessarily need them to be the best of the best in order for me to enjoy them. But while I wait to find a tie scale, because I don't have another one right now, my only 3.5 inch tie scale is actually on this guy, and I'm not gonna take it off. But while I wait for that, there is a change that I want to make to this knife that I've not done to any of my user Hinderers in the past. I've owned over 35 individual Hinderer knives, and many of them sold or traded, and I've kept, I think I have 7 now, 7 or 8, I can't remember. But I've never actually run a user on washers. If you don't know, one of the interesting things about Hinderer knives is they utilize what Hinderer refers to as the tri-way pivot system, which is what that symbol means right there. This knife comes with bearings pre-installed, but they also offer you nylon and phosphor bronze, and these are the steel spacers for the washers here. I don't know why you'd run on nylon. If you run nylon, you can tell me why. But I know why you would want to run on phosphor bronze. It's because if you plan to really use the knife and get it dirty and, you know, run it in environments where it's going to be gritty and dusty, the phosphor bronze washers are simply superior to bearings. Now, admittedly, I've never really had a problem with bearings, right? But I kind of want this knife to be a use it and forget about it, not really worry about it, right? I want to be able to just wash it off with soap and hot water, blow it out with compressed air, and just put some oil on it. And bearings are not going to allow me to do that. One of the things that's a bummer about Hinderer knives is that their bearings, if they're still doing them the same, are steel. They should definitely be ceramic. In fact, eventually I would love to do a video on what I would hope that Hinderer would do if he ever does a Gen 7 of the XM18. And let me tell you, the XM18 is long overdue for Generation 7. But they're still selling well, so I don't know if he'll ever do that, you know. But anyways, today, very quickly, I'm going to use the Hinderer tool, which I've had forever. You don't have to buy the Hinderer tool, right? It just, I'm not even going to say it makes it convenient. It's just the only spanner tool I have here that'll actually fit, right? You kind of do this nonsense. You can use a spanner and a flathead. It's annoying. That's one of the things that should be changed if he ever does a Gen 7. Just give us the Torx, right? Get rid of the Phillips head and all this other nonsense, right? But it's still pretty easy to take apart. So I'm going to take it apart. We're going to do that in hyperlapse. I'm going to pause in the middle because we're going to do a little bit of treatment to the washers. And then we're going to hyperlapse and finish up and see if I can get this thing running ultra smooth on washers. Okay, so we have this apart, and a couple of things. I always forget, like, I always use a penny to remove the pivot screw. And the reason is because the copper's soft enough that it doesn't mess up the pivot. But, you know, whatever. If you don't care about the pivot, then fine. You will fight Loctite, like, all the way through. This was pretty thick with it. And I'm not going to add any additional because those pivots tend to, I mean, if you think about this, like the screw is seriously, it's going all the way through the spanner side. Like this is not going to fall out. Like you'll notice like, oh, it's a little loose. I need to tighten it, you know? So if you want to put Loctite on there, you can, Blue 242. But if you're going to take these apart, you've never done it before, you're going to fight that thing all the way through. But it's you know, far from impossible. So anyways, the next thing that we do here, I've only done this a couple of times, adding the washers and the spacers. And you know, part of the reason I shy away from it in the past is because it never seemed to want to center up. And maybe it will this time, maybe it won't. I'm not really sure. Like they're always perfectly centered with the bearings. But sometimes the washers just will not allow these things to be centered. And so I don't know if the tolerances are different now. There's ask a million people about how much KPL to use. That's what this is. It's linked in the description. Ask a million people about how much KPL to use, and you're going to get a million answers. And I'm sure that you guys are going to want to tell me, you're doing that wrong. You're doing that wrong. Go ahead. I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to do a couple on the steel side, a couple on the washer side, and we're just going to let it be a little bit goopy. You know, we're just going to let it be, and that's okay. And then over time, if it's too goopy, well, then that problem will probably work itself out. Some people say you don't need to put any on there at all. I'm still gonna, but thank you. We're going to put a little bit in here, right? We're going to put some right there. Oops, so that's definitely too much. But we're also going to put a little bit like right here for the pivot barrel itself. I want everything. I want all the surfaces to be, you know, nice and lubricated. And then most importantly, we're going to put a drop right on the pivot, or not the pivot, but the detent ball. In fact, at this point, I'm going to say the vast majority of people are going to say this is way too much, and they're probably right, but that's okay. So from here, you're going to want to hold that lock bar down so that it actually goes on there. Now we're going to put that washer in right there. Get him nice and goopy there. And, and this is such cringy. The words I'm using are so cringy. And then we're going to go ahead and put that spacer right here. And then we're going to put this guy back on, and we'll go ahead and hyperlapse this part. Well, this is amazing. For the first time ever, I was actually able to get this centered on washers. And you know what? The action is pretty good. I mean, it's going to take a little bit to perfectly break in, but I would say from here, I can easily close this with one hand. On top of that, I don't have any blade play. I'll admit, I've only ever tried to install washers in a Hinderer maybe 4-5 times maximum. Every other time, I could get it centered, but it'd be too tight. Or I could get it centered and the action would be good, or I'd have play. And I was honestly prepared to make a statement at the end of this video saying, Hinderer, for Gen 7, you got to get your, you're obviously getting your tolerances with your bearings right. But the tolerances with the washers are not right. That's what I was planning to say. I'm pleasantly surprised. And perhaps he has, maybe that was an issue in the past and now it has been corrected. But this is now every bit, the full-on Hinderer knife that I've always wanted these things to be, because these are very, very dependable cutting tools, right? Now, you don't need to spend $425 to get a good, dependable cutting tool. But as far as frame locks go, I like Hinderer knives. I think, as is the case with all titanium frame locks or steel frame locks or titanium liner locks or steel liner locks, enough of a spine impact will cause them to disengage. This is something that I've spoken about many, many times. Frame locks and liner locks rely on absolutely perfect geometry. And while the typical amount of force that you might expect to be applied to the spine during normal cutting, which, spine pressure is not something that normally occurs. You kind of have to force that. But in some situations while you're cutting, if it gets stuck, you might sort of wiggle it back out and some pressure might be applied to the spine. The Hinderer frame lock and other similar frame locks offer plenty of support to withstand that and keep themselves from disengaging. Can you smash the back of this blade against a solid surface and expect the frame lock to disengage? Yeah, probably. But I don't plan to do that during normal use. I think that's just that's something that that results after, impacting the spine of a blade that relies on a frame lock. Obviously, locks like, the super lock, the triad lock, the scorpion lock, all the super strong locks can withstand that, but then you have to return to reality and go, oh, yeah, those aren't things that we normally do with knives. But sometimes for some people that just comes with sort of a pride of ownership or pride of durability thing, and I can understand that as well. For me, I'm basically saying this because I know people are going to bring it up. I don't care because I plan to use the knife as a cutting tool. But I do love now that I don't have to worry about dust and dirt and grime getting in there. I'm going to just use this as a tool. I own so many knives at this point and I use so many knives regularly that are far more expensive than this. Using this knife and kind of tossing it around, getting it dirty, getting it scratched up, it's not really something that I care too much about. It'll be fine. But yeah, I'm really excited to actually throw this into the rotation now. And I'm so pleased that the washers, that they're working, and the action, actually, as we speak, the action seems to be getting better. This is actually very, very cool. You can see actually, I don't know, that was my own pink fingers there. On one side, you see the washer. On the other side, you see the steel spacer, and that's because the washer is squished into that cutout in the blade. Right, so that's what you're going to see there. I just don't want anybody looking at that going, oh, you installed it wrong. It's supposed to be steel, then washer, then blade, then washer, then steel. But because of where the pockets are, the pocket is on this side in the titanium, and the pocket is on this side, not in the liner, because there wouldn't be enough space. The pocket is on the blade. But if you install them correctly, assuming that the tolerances on your knife are good, and in 2025, Hinderer tolerances should be good, apparently this does work. So that is very, very cool. This is not the end result of this video that I expected. So fun. Great. That's it. The next modification to this knife will be when I finally find a textured titanium scale for it, because that's what I want to put on this. But for now, this will work just fine. Let me know if you picked up a non-flipper. I have some requests for Hinderer knives. We know that the fatties don't have good cutting geometry. Bring the fatties back. Do a fatty Spanto again. How long has it been? Rick, come on, man. Come on, bring back the fatty Spanto. Everybody wants it. Oh, please. That would be so cool. Do a fatty harpoon Spanto. That would be so much fun. Oh my gosh. The last fatty that they did was the Warncliffe. I don't think the people looking to pick that stuff up are ultra concerned with the cutting geometry. It's already thick on these, and if they want a thinner cutting geometry, Rick, you've given them a million options. The skinnies, the skinny hollow grind, they've got it. Give the people who want the ridiculous stuff an option. That'd be me, the fatty Spanto. Bring it back. Come on, please. Anyways, that's going to be it. Just had to throw that in there. If you made it to the end of the video, tell Rick, say, hey, watch the end of Metal Complex's video. He's begging you. And he's going to say, who the heck is Metal Complex? Never heard of that guy. Sounds like a weirdo. Anyways, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. If you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.